What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been a long-time listener of Doug Casey. Read all of his books, listened to all of his interviews, found out that he had his second strike on YouTube, so he got kicked off. So anyway, I found him back on Rumble because I'm like, where has the Doug Casey videos been? He's one of my favorite content producers. I just think his thinking is so clear on things. I love his perspective on things. I mean, it's just to be able to get access to Doug Casey's wisdom. If you've never checked him out, it's Doug Casey's Takes. I went over to Rumble to find him recently, and I subscribe to his newsletter and all that. He has a private group as well. And I thought it was interesting for today's video because it's a matter of time if you put too much truth out there, where the regime will cancel, which is just a super gay way of doing this. Like they're essentially doing Lenin things without doing Lenin things. Like if Lenin cancels you, you're imprisoned or you're dead. You're canceled. You're out. You're done. But these folks are like, well, we're gonna cancel the Canadian truckers. That'll teach them. And it's like all you're doing is just breeding hatred and loathe, and you're just creating this situation of toxicity, which is probably the point. But it makes me think what are the solutions here? And the ultimate solution is you need to have a decentralized internet. You need to have an internet where my computer can interact with your computer, my computer can give permission to your computer to take files off of mine, and likewise, and we don't need centralized servers to do it. Right now we're doing a really lazy, this is extremely lazy. I'm recording this on a phone, I'm gonna upload it to my computer, upload it to the internet, up to YouTube, excuse me, it's not the internet, it's YouTube. YouTube's gonna put it on a server, probably gonna be hosted by Amazon Web Services. You're gonna access that link and download the file, not even download it, you're gonna stream it, watch it, get the content, and if I say something too real, too truthful, something that hits the spot, it'll be taken down, I'll have a strike, and then 3 strikes or something like that, you're out, and which makes, as a content provider or creator, you go, well, what's the point here of really putting a lot of effort into your craft if you're just gonna get canceled anyway? Now you can move over to other parties, other hosting services, but ultimately the solution here, post the fourth turning that we're going through now, that we're at the very beginning stages of, is we should probably have something that resembles the internet of the early 80s, something that's way more decentralized and a lot more free and less controlled. If it goes well. If it goes bad, then no. It'll be really interesting what's going on. We just saw Canada this week. I don't want to comment too much on Canada because I don't know exactly what's going on with Canada, but they're just doing crazy things up there where they want to approve the podcasts you can download and just things like that. Obviously, you could have a private website. I could say, hey guys, go to OnSiteTrav.com, download today's file, and they can't really stop that, especially if I host it myself. But it just gets gooey, and you see this where with credit card processors or bank accounts, anything fiat, they can cancel you if you have too much beef with the regime. They're just gonna be like, Trav, your bank accounts are canceled, your credit cards are canceled, your debit cards are canceled, your trading accounts and brokerage accounts are canceled, they're closed, they're not really yours. So that leads me on to the second part of this video, which is what have I been doing in this past year since I've really been thinking about this stuff. One, a large part of my investable assets are not at the risk of a third party, meaning Fidelity. Fidelity can't call me up and be like, hey Trav, guess what, we're closing it. I was public about buying Russian stocks. I 10-bagged it, by the way, I 10x to my Russian stocks. The downside to it is you have to move it overseas. You have to literally move it out to a different brokerage because they decide to take them. And they just cancel it. They were one moment they were in your brokerage account, the next moment they're not in your brokerage account. So a large part of my investable assets, maybe half of them, are literally in my own wallets, like crypto wallets, or they're in my own vaults and they're sprinkling around, or they're in maybe a third-party vault here and there, but only for the purposes of using it as my own credit line, which is something I'll go into later, but I can loan against it. So it's I can have a certain amount of gold and silver on deposit with certain vendors, and I can hit them up and just be like, yo, I want a loan on it, and it's 4% plus whatever the current interest rates are on top. So it's 10%. So it's like if I want to access cash, I can access it right now, but I never have to give up my equity or my physical asset. I know it's a little bit complex, so I'll go into that in another video on how I do it, and it's relatively pretty simple, but it's like I'm becoming my own central bank. That's what I'm doing. The other part of my investable assets are things that I own, physical things that are producing cash flow, that are productive assets. I'm actually looking at ordering in a couple semis of edible trees and plants, not just a plant in my own place, but like to resell, to grow up, like, you know, and buy things at 3 gallons and pot them into 7 gallon. Buy a 7 gallon, pot them into 15 gallon. And I'm looking at that going like, I can insure it. I can like literally put it on property that I own and fenced, like, and locked and cameraed, and have freaking wolves out on, and like, you know, so I'm like, all right, that's something interesting to do with like productive capital. And then there is a certain point or percentage of what I have where it is in a Fidelity account, a Robinhood account, Interactive Brokers account, kind of spread out like into thirds like that. And maybe there's another brokerage, but like 3-4 different brokers. And, you know, it's not great, because at some point in time, it's like, we can just take that from you. But I'm aware of that. And there's nothing that I hold in those things that I couldn't take a loss on, like the Russian stocks. Like, I can take a loss for what I've invested. I can take the loss. So what we're seeing right now, like this whole cancellation, it's just the symptoms of we centralized everything. We gave a lot of power to a very small group of people. It's never enough, so they must get more power. We're taking a lot of productive capabilities and freedoms from the people that can't say anything about it. And so there's this power drain into the powerful's hands. Essentially, it's just draining on up into there. And then at some point in time, in my opinion, it snaps, it gets chaotic, it gets reset. Because that's how it always goes. It's just how it always happens. So I will have more on that, but I've been kind of looking at this. I'm like, okay, yeah, these are things that we're just gonna have to live with. So the answer here is, well, create the back doors, like create the solutions to it. Like, we have to have another way to pass information around. It's not gonna be as convenient as, oh, I just upload it to my Facebook status and all my buddies could see it. It's gonna be more work. You might have to have your own email list. You might have to have your own server. You might have to but that's also the opportunity, because when this thing is all wrapped up and done and we're looking at this in the rearview mirror, we're gonna be like, wow, everything now, if it goes well, like, that's not gonna be repeatable. They're not gonna be able to do that again for a long time. I mean, I'm sure eventually they'll be able to centralize everything, one more time, but like, you know, they'll be able to move in that direction once again because of efficiencies. If you look at it with farming, like, we used to have lots of mom and pop farms, lots and lots of mom and pop farms everywhere, small grocery stores, etc. And now you look at it, it's all commercial factory farm. It's all literally been like, in the name of efficiency, like, we pushed out those smaller players and we went to this really centralized model. And then we got to a spot like a year ago where, like, oh my goodness, the US can't produce baby formula. Like, it can't happen right now, which, you know, interesting. Like, you got to really kind of check, like, oh, if you can't produce that and you have a shortage of eggs, that might be a sign. That's new. You know, that's new for this period of time. You know, you might be on the back nine as far as like approaching some sort of kinetic event that all hell breaks loose. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. But also, that's what solves these problems. People get to the spot where, like, you know, we should just decentralize everything. And I think that's the solution, and that's the thing to work on. That's the general, like, this is what you should be working on, is trying to figure out, okay, this centralized system sucks. We have a bunch of elites that can literally print currency at will and give it to their buddies, and then they can suck resources to themselves. And then the consequences of that are they become really degenerate. You know, they become like the Bidensteins. Like, they literally just become super, like your son's hooking up with like your dead son's widow. Like, it's just weird stuff. Even on the other side, you look at like the Trump tard, you know, folks. I want you guys, you know, I want to offend both parties just as much. I want both of you to be pissed off with me. But on the Trump tards, you've got like a billionaire son who's hooking up with Gavin Newsom's ex-wife. Like, it's just super degenerate. Like, it's just like, bro, you're a billionaire son. Arguably, probably a billionaire yourself. You're in the family. You're like fourth generation here. But like, you're playing with the single mommy thing for what? Like, it's just really weird and degenerative. But the solution is like, get out of that system, help your buddies get out of that system, build solutions that are outside of that system, and then just wait, because it's a matter of time for like the people of thinking minds to be like, well, I want to listen to Doug Casey. I want to talk about investing things with Doug Casey. Where can I find him? Oh, is he on Rumble? Is he on his own server? Where is that party at? Obviously, this party's starting to get pretty lame. So where's the next party at? And people will just shift. But I think building those solutions, getting excited about building those solutions, because really, I mean, 10 years ago, it's like, hey guys, I want to build something that's like decentralized and no one has to be on Mark Zuckerberg servers. Everyone would be like, Trav, it's 2013, just use Facebook, shut up. And we got no traction. I mean, in 2018, it could have said the exact same thing. 5 years later, people are like, Trav, just shut up. But in 23, it's like, what do you think about that idea? And people are like, yeah, it's a good idea. Where's the party at? And it's like, we're gonna have to build it. We're gonna have to build it. Which is amazing, because it's a wealth transfer, and it's a wealth transfer that you can partake in, and it will go to you. All that attention, all that capital is going to go somewhere, and you could be on that side where it could go to. So that is my 2 cents for today. Love you guys. See you on the next one.